Good evening, you're very welcome to Inside Line Racing for round number 3 of ILR2 here at Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix. My name is Graham and I'm going to do my best to bring the action to you tonight from a track that twists and turns and has many bits and bobs and bumps and all sorts. Yeah, you do get some great racing around this track, and hopefully that's what we see tonight in ILR2. So I'm looking forward to that as we watch Foxy, I believe, is the first man on an out lap, or on a flying lap rather, on hards. We can get into the standings and where things lie after 2 rounds. So after a 5th place finish last time round, Speedster still leads the way on 35 points, but he's got competition now in the form of Scuba MUFC, who's on 33 points after winning in Bahrain last time round, and then Calzo level on points with him on 33 points in P3, and then you have Matt Tybos in 4th on 22 points. So not obviously, look, there's a lot left to go, but at least 3 at the top for now anyways, very close together. In the constructors, it is Mercedes leading the way with Scuba and Matt on 55 points, 37 points, they're clear ahead of Alfa Romeo, who are on 37 points, and then you have Toro Rosso in 3rd on 33 points. So that's where things stand after 2 rounds very early in the season, as obviously you know, as Foxy's going to get a start today with a 32.7 on the hards. So the majority of the field you'll expect to see on the hard compound to start qualifying here, so you can pick someone up near the end of a lap on the hards. The majority of people, given that this track, you know, is not very kind on its softs, as Corey goes 3rd at 32.9, so it's quite close up there for the time being on the provisional runs. You're going to see a lot of people start. Oh, that's Renault facing the wrong way, and the Ferrari of Samsung just nipping through just about, as Calzo goes quick as 32.5 on the hard. So you're going to see lots of people on hards to start, and then, you know, there'll be a lull in the session, and then come the end of the session, you'll see the majority of the field on mediums. There's a few guys on softs, but you know, instances like you have a Wuma here, 34 flash, you know, a time that's easily beatable on the set of medium, so there's no real risk there. So I'm sure there'll be someone who will try and will try the softs. I'm sure there's always one, and that usually holds true, as Jeff goes 4th, the 32.8. It's tight at the moment. Not much to choose so far in the early stages. Samster then goes ahead of his teammate. Less than 300 between those two. So good to see Samster getting a good time after missing last week's action in Bahrain. So you could pick up another car. I expect these guys to do a few laps on these hards before coming in, because the expectation is fully, obviously, to, you know, come in and put a set of mediums on. And Speedster, then the championship leader, 32.4 rather, goes into P1 for the time being. Has anyone got an answer for that on the hards? Anyways, yeah, we'll you know, be good to get our eye in for pace, see what's what with the guys in the hards. It looks quite tight, at least a little bit further down the field, but Speedster then again setting the standard in ILR2 so far. And we go on board with Matt Tybos in the Mercedes, heavy braking at the hairpin. A difficult corner to get right. It can easily be the bust of your lap, especially this corner now, coming up the last corner, and you just want to take enough of it on the entry and apex. And Matt Tybos, 32.3, goes provisional pole position. That's a great lap from Matt. His teammate could only muster 6 on his first run, 32.8, but that was on the edge from Matt, having on those last 2 corners, or sorry, into that last corner rather, on entry and exit, right on the edge of where you need to be. Any more to the left on the inside or on the right on the exit, and that's probably an invalidation, but he's absolutely lined that up perfectly and gets himself on provisional pole for the time being, as a lot of people heading into the pits, as you'd imagine. Obviously, you know, there's going to be a time in this session where it does quieten down a good bit, so you could pick up anyone on a lap. I think Corey might be on a lap. No, he's just pointed the ERS down, so you could pick up anyone. Speedster go for a lap. I think Speedster might be on a lap. Here he goes. It's a starting one, is he? He's got a bit of ERS saved. He's going to have a go again. So let's have a look on board with Speedster as he heads through this tricky turn 1. Want to drift out and then kind of come back in late. Hook it up nicely, turn 2. But be careful how you apply that throttle and exit. You can see speeds are very tentative on no traction. And the shortest run possible, then head down towards turn 6. So you go down to first for a bit of extra rotation. No, it keeps it in second. Very clean, short shift to third. Sometimes you go through first down there just to get a little bit extra rotation on the car. But this is Hook looking quite nice from speeds, nice and tidy. See if he's up on his time as he heads towards the end of the second sector split. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful driving so far. And he is a 10th up, almost 2 tenths up, so this has been a really clean lap, and it's quick as well. You know, sometimes there is a difference between a quick lap and then a clean lap as well. A clean lap can look clean, but it might not always be quick. But this is a combination of the two, and he's looking very promising here. His speedster, as he is on the edge of ERS, he should have enough by the time he gets down to that hairpin. Of course, you start losing a bit of power once you get to around 10% or so, but on the edge as he exits and short. He does go into the first gear for that hairpin, short shifts to 2. And then on the left, beautifully poised. This is going to be a good lap. Now to 32.1, so that was an absolutely beautiful lap, as I think that's Alfie goes 4th with a similarly good lap. 32.5, gets himself onto the second row of the grid for the time being, as most people are in the pits. No one's set a quick lap on softs. I don't count a 34 flat as a quick lap. Another person on softs is Nick, as he exits turn 3. And he does go down to first gear. A bit of extra rotation as Speedster gets out of the way, and Alfie as well. So a little bit of traffic to negotiate. But on those softs, he should be really feeling it. Again, hard to say how much fuel is in this car. Of course, you know, it's one thing to be on softs, but of course we don't know fuel loads. Ooh, losing the back end there, snapping away as he headed out of turn 10. Braking then for turn 11, and my least favourite corner on this track personally to drive. I'm sure others feel the same way. I refer to it as the snail corner. And down the main straight, the Red Bull charges. Not the best, not the best qualified so far for Red Bull. The Gamer Paco in 17th place. Let's see though how Nick can end this lap. Misses the apex. It's going to cost him time. Wonder if he'll abort this lap, or will he see it through? And if he does see it through, what kind of lap is it going to be? Is it be representative? Again, missing the apex. And I think he's just going to, yeah, there he goes. Put on the brake and go 17th fastest. Along with his teammate, who has the slowest cars yet to set time. But the two Ferraris look like they're on the lap, so we'll go on board with Corey. A couple of other guys on laps as well. You know, guys still toughing it out on hards. I'll actually go with Scuba, who's just near the end of his lap, and looks like he's on a flying lap as well. Beautiful helmet, I must say. And final corner, what's this going to be? It's a 32.3. He's just a couple of hundredths off of his teammate, but Mercedes then looking good in these early stages. Well, I wouldn't say early stages of qualifying, but you know, getting up there in qualifying. That's a nice looking grid slot for the Mercedes-Benz team. So they already have a decent lead in the constructors. And if all goes to plan, they could walk away a little bit more than that after this one. I think Corey's actually abandoned his lap. I don't know if Nick impeded his lap or anything, but they're going to have to both be careful, because Sam's starting bringing up the rear here. And just struggling a little bit. It's a very wide line from Samster. He's going to lose some time in the process, but actually he's in a perfect position. I actually don't know if this was planned or not, but he's in a brilliant position to pick up the toe from his teammate. This has to be planned. I'm sure, because the likelihood of it actually, you know, of Corey being on a lap and then his lap going down, and then, you know, being in a perfect position to give Samster the toe, you know, a little bit unlikely. But let's see then, as he comes across the line, Samster, it's 4th place with that toe to 32.3, and again it's so tight between Matt, Scuba and Samster. They're all in the 32.3s. Matt then the head of the bunch as he pulls into the pits. Doesn't need to set a second lap really, after that alone. Very good lap from Matt Tybos in the Mercedes. As kind of most people now are in the pits, again waiting for that, I'm guessing 2-minute range. Around a track where, you know, if you got a chance to invalidate, like, you know, a track like Canada or something, you know, it's worth going out with enough time for 2 runs, because it is obviously a track where you can invalidate your lap on multiple spots. Whereas here, your main kind of area of difficulty when it comes to hooking the lap up and getting it valid is just the last turn, really. Mostly, if you cut it, obviously, and then obviously on the exit as well. Zenki goes up to third then, so Zenki then managing somehow to split these Mercedes, 32.339, so 200s ahead of Scuba and just under 200s ahead, behind Matt there. So that's an interesting one. See that Renault in amongst the Mercedes. Of course, we know that things will likely change with obviously the mediums to obviously still come out, and we'll see what the story is. I think it could be a very different grid by the time it's all said and done. All about hooking that lap up. We'll see who's got the stuff. And I think everyone is on a. I think everyone's on a flying. Either in the pits or on an in lap. I know Nick is on an out lap here. I don't know if Scuba's actually on a flying lap. He's done 5 laps on these hards, so he's gone there for the long stint, and he's going to come in now. So he comes in. Zenki going for another lap back to back. Didn't think he had the DRS to do it, or the ERS rather. But it looks like he's going to. As he unwinds onto this back straight, this long back straight. There's a couple of people on out laps. I don't think Woma's on an in lap. Nick on an out lap, as I mentioned. Archie as well. A couple of guys now venturing out. We're beginning to get to that point where it's time to come out on these mediums. And if you want to avoid, obviously look with a full 20 driver grid, you know, it'd be in your best interest to try and avoid traffic if you can, and, you know, getting the jump out now would kind of help you with that in that regard. I actually don't think anyone's on a lap, so we'll just go on board with. I think Nick is going to be the first one of this bunch to do it. Yeah, because Archie's the first, so we'll go with Nick. Again, if I missed something, apologies. I think it's going to be absolute chaos to end the session, as everyone, it looks like, is going to be on mediums. Usually there's one person. That's all it takes, one person to do the softs, but not today. It looks like everyone is keeping their sensible heads on and understanding that the soft tyre is not a good race tyre. But here we go then with Nick then. Red Bull not looking too pretty at the moment on the grid, but again, it's going to be difficult to see. Paco, obviously, we know has the potential to turn it around. I'm not sure about Nick. We'll see what the story is come the end of this lap as he flies down out of turn 5 and through turn 6 then. 2.5 minutes remaining, so of course there's enough time for this lap, and obviously another flying lap if you have the ERS to boot. But for most people coming out now, you know, Speedster, Mash, Samster, etc., Calzo, you know, you're going to get one bite of the cherry at this one, so to speak, as we go on board Nick as he heads down towards turn 11. You can actually, you know, I have seen it happen where you cut that corner as well, but it's a little bit less likely than obviously the last corner. Now it's actually looked like a very tidy snail section as he unwinds down this long back straight. So obviously you're going to see the bulk of overtaking opportunities mostly come here. Now if you can stick close enough through these last 2 corners, there's a chance you can make a reply down the start finish straight, especially if you get a good run out of the last corner if you're on fresher tyres or whatever the case may be. But here comes Nick then. So he exits the final corner, opens the DRS and goes up a provisional pole with a 32 flat. So we'll see how that ages then. I'm going to try my best to keep up with the action here, but it's going to come thick and it's going to come fast, so bear with me as Foxy then making his final approach. Run out of ERS, he's going to lose a bit of time here down the end, but to 31.7, and the times are going to start flying in now as Ollie then goes second on his medium. So again, coming in thick. I won't spend too much time because it's coming in thick and fast, and Paco is out of this session then. So that's an interesting one for Paco, who's got, we know has got pace, but now certainly does not have the great position to start as Corey there, or sorry, CC Brain rather, comes out of the final corner, and he goes fourth fastest. Only a 32 flat then on the mediums. So he would have been hoping for a lot better. So you can flick through. I saw Red Bull there for a sec. That's a super guy then, just starting his laps, and he'll have a chance to do one more as Calzo goes quickest. 31 flat from Calzo. That's a bit more like it. I still think we'll see something in the 30s though. As Scuba starting his lap then, just 9 seconds left then, so whoever's coming across now is basically finishing their lap. Forgive me as I flick through the driver, see if you can find anyone near the end of a lap. To be fair, a lot of people are actually just starting theirs. Here we go. We'll go on board with the Haas of Mikalitsi, sorry, I'm bad with names. He comes then out of the final corner. I think he's going to be actually the first to see the checkered flag. So here he comes then across the line, and it's a 31.8. Oh, it's a big queue here. Whereas Speedster, there he is. Speedster then comes through. It's a 31.2. It's not good enough for a provisional pole position. Matt Tybus comes over in third place. He takes back that second row spot he had. Jeff then into fourth. So you could pick up anyone else. Then Praga out to third then. A good lap from Praga. Here comes Alfie then up on his time as you'd expect. He goes into third place then. So the time's coming in thick and fast. Anyone else you can find on the end of their lap? Let's see, go Glock then. See, he comes out of the final corner. On the run down, can he make a run? He goes fourth fastest, so time's coming in thick and fast. As Corey goes 10th, and where is Scuba? He'd be one to watch. A couple of guys in front of him as well, though, including Wuma. Comes across the line, sets a 31.6, and Scuba goes up to second place, 31.2 for Scuba, and I think, is that going to do it? I believe so. Zenki then getting himself late up into the action here in the top 5. So that's going to do it for qualifying then. A lot of change happens by the end of that. But in the end, it is Calzo who's taken pole position with a 31 flash. Did convincing pole in the end. Elsewhere, it's very close between Scuba, Speedster, Alfie, Zenki, as we go down further through the field as well. So an interesting racing prospect, and that's for sure. With everyone in the top 10 on the same strategy, no one went for the sauce in the end, which again is unusual because there's especially in a grid with 20 drivers, there's always one that manages to do it, but not here. Be interested to see if anyone chooses them for the start of the race. I can't imagine they would, but we'll get there. So Calzo is ahead of Scuba in second place there. Speedster then in third, Alfie fourth, Zenki fifth, Glock in sixth, Praga seventh. Matt then slipping down to eighth then, so not the best run for Matt then for his last run. He's just ahead of Wuma in ninth and Jeff in 10th. And outside the top 10 you got Foxy, Super Guy, Mikulitsi, Corey, Ollie Flavel, Nick, CC Brain, Samster, Archie and Paco. And looking at that, there's a lot of people out of position as such, you know, like Corey, like CC Brain, Samster, Paco. These are quick dudes, and I'm expecting them to make significant headway in this race. How far they'll get, well, I'm not sure, but they do have the added benefit of being able to choose their own tyre. Obviously, if you start in qualifying inside the top 10, you start on the set you set your fastest lap on. Only inside the top 10, of course, but that looks like a dry race. Of course, if it was wet at the start, everyone would have been on softs. So, unless there's rain to come, I'm expecting the strategy to be fairly rudimentary, mediums to hards, and if not, then the reverse, hards to mediums. Safety car could, of course, change things, as it so often does, but when we see one, they're rarities in their own right. Time will tell, as time is ticking then on these guys to choose their strategies, choose their any changes they need to make to the setup. You can change a few things. You can change the front wing, you can change the differential and the brake bias. That's about all you can change. Everything else obviously set in stone with Parc Fermé in play. Right. See what we got as we head off on the formation lap. Okay, wow. So, top 11 then, starting on mediums. Foxy is the only driver outside the top 10 to go with a set of mediums. Everyone else, and this is unusual, everyone else is on hards. Now, is that an indication of rain to possibly play a factor? I don't know, because you don't see that too often where pretty much every through 12 through 20, you know, they put on the hardest compact tire to start. And whether everyone had the same idea, we'll find out, but yeah, that's interesting for sure. So, a lot more people on the hards than I thought there would be. So, we'll see how that plays out. I would say the sun, yeah, you could say the sun is shining. A few blue clouds, more so in this middle sector, I guess, than the start. But as Calzo leads them away, then a short run down to turn 1. But of course, a turn 1 that always invites chaos, given its winding nature. It's so easy to make a lunge and just stick your car, and then obviously with turn 2, you know, obviously turn 1 then closes off, and obviously turn 2, you know, you try and stick around the outside, you might run out of room. It's, yeah, it's a difficult one to get right, to make up positions, but certainly not impossible. And that's what these guys will be looking to do, especially the likes of Speedster, Scuba, you know, if they can. It's a short run down to turn 1. Oh, nice engine glitch. So see what's possible. Obviously what helps is that, excuse me, they're all on the same tyres at the front. No mix and matching. So they are good. As Calzo then rounds the final corner. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. Maybe pop a prediction in the comments. I have the comments in front of me as best I can. So as they line up, 28 laps, should be an interesting one. A lot of people out of position, and we will do our best. See the view from Speedster as they look down towards turn 1. Be looking to get a good start in that Alfa Romeo to try and continue his title charge. The top 3 in the standings all together on the grid. Makes for a fascinating prospect. 5 red lights. And away we go. Looks like a good start for Scuba. Can he draw far enough alongside that Toro Rosso into turn 1? He might not have a go. Trying to hold it. He'll have the inside then for the latter part of turn 1 as they file through. And they have the outside then for turn 2. Can he hold it for the lead? I think Calzo might have him covered, and he does. So Calzo then holding on for the time being, but Scuba on the outside heading down towards turn 5 and 6. He'll go around the outside and try switch back. Alfie's there as well. He's made up a place on Speedster as they all file through. Then we got Matt and Praga exchanging blows as we go down the rest of the field, see if anyone's. There's a Williams lagging behind, that Super Guy lagging behind. So the rest of them seem to have got through relatively cleanly as Glock. And there's Matt as well, gotten by Zenki, and Matt and Zenki side by side as they head down towards turn 11. Oh, the Toro Rosso gone flying. It's Nick, I believe. Sorry, it's Jeff. Nick is in the Red Bull. I'm amazed he isn't out of the race, but he has retired now. As Matt then holds that position ahead of Zenki, and Matt's made up some positions here to start. As Calzo then looked like he was in trouble there to start the race, was Calzo, but he managed to hold it and managed to protect that lead for the time being as they all file away down that long back straight. Anyone looking to make an overtake? Got Wuma, Foxy dude, they're close. As Nick then trying to make an overtake on the Haas, Zenki, and Matt then again going side by side, heading towards the last corner, and Matt just slots back in front. So a nice little battle between these two early on as Calzo completes the first lap. And there's an Alfa Romeo of Speeds. I think he was weaving. Maybe not too happy with something that happened. As you got Corey. It's actually just made it, because actually there it is. I was wondering where the overtakes were happening. And Foxy doing them Praga side by side, going board with Woma. Oh, contact between the two. It's not going to give Woma the chance to slip through. Heading out of turn 3 and 4. We have a look at Scoop. Actually, he's very, very close to the back of Calzo. I thought he was going to make a move there for a second. So Praga and Foxy do then Praga ahead for the time being. There's a lot of chaos going on here. There's Corey, there's Nick, there's Samster. As they head through the middle sector then. Very, very close, and still Foxy and Praga, you know, going at it. I think the telemetry's off a little bit in terms of actual overtakes, but there is a car off. It is Samster, and he's off. He's almost had a collision with the hat of Michalizzi. So that won't do them any good whatsoever. That's a disaster then for Ferrari, who need all the points they can get, of course. Damn telemetry. We can see if we can pick up anyone. They're all kind of out of that range where they can make an overtake, because they're in within DRS, but they're not quite far enough to make an overtake. Although I was saying that, Praga dipping into the toe of Foxy Dude into the toe of Praga, and he goes down the inside and he makes the move stick, and that is 8th place for Foxy Dude. But now the DRS will be enabled this lap after completing lap 2. We'll back end squirming a bit there for both Praga and Foxy Dude, and there it is. DRS is enabled. I think that's CC Brain diving into the pits. Praga's teammate it is. He's on the set of hards, so that's not what you want to see. You know, dive into the pits, a set of hards. You're committing to a 2-stop then from here on out. Of course, the mediums will not be able to go to the end as Woman then looking to put the pressure on then Praga, who's just fallen to the back then of Foxy then this lap so far. It's all very, very tight. So like everyone's within DRS basically, between, you know, apart from Corey and Nick. Inside the top 10 at least, so it is very, very close. We'll see who can get the most of it as they head out of the snail section for the first time with DRS then. As Matt tries to continue his charge, there's the look at the position changes. So Alfie making up a position on Speedster, Matt making up some places, same with Foxy. So some good progress made for some of these guys to start. And now for the first time DRS is enabled. Heading down this back straight, Scuba is just around 7/10 behind Calzo. He's not going to be close enough to make an overtake, but how about Matt on Glock? I think Glock will just about have DRS. He's 9/10 behind Speedster. You can see the rear wing open on that Haas as Wuma again in DRS of Praga, who also has DRS on Foxy. So this is how this race kind of begins, as Wuma look to try and see if an overtake was possible heading into that hairpin, but nothing doing for now, and cuts that corner slightly as Praga goes slightly wide. Open to DRS, he's got a good run then. We stick one down the inside. How will he play it? He's took it to the outside as Praga goes defensive. And Praga drifts a bit wide. Can Wuma cut back in as it goes side by side? And Wuma cuts off the line, so I think that's decent racing there from Wuma. No one went off that line. I don't think it was dirty. I'm sure Praga won't appreciate it, but smart racing there from Wuma, because he would have known that Praga would have had that inside line had he left it there. And Wuma cuts it off and he moves then into P9. So I do worry for Alfie this lap though, because he has dropped out. He dropped out of DRS range last lap, to be fair, just about, and now he's 1.4 behind Scuba. So now heading down this long back straight, there's going to be no defence for him. And this should be interesting in the context of this race, because he lost that position to start, as did Speedster, but now surely if he gets a good run out of this corner he can try and get it back. As you see Scuba getting closer and closer and closer, but not close enough to make an overtake, heading down towards the hairpin. And Alfie got a good run after that snail section. He was about 5 or 6 tenths ahead of Speedster, and that helped him hold on to that P3 for the moment. It's only a matter of time as Archie and Nick, and that's Archie into 12th place and in the Williams, getting by Nick then, who's got Ollie and Paco behind, and Super Guy. So some stern competition behind him, as again it's close up there. It's actually quite close. You see the ERS story. Calzo just saving a bit at this phase of the race, as is Scuba at this part as well, you know, in places, but Calzo's got that little bit more ERS for the time being, but they have pulled away a bit now, and this is an important phase of the race, and especially for Speedster, because you know they're not pulling away much from Alfie, but again, if this persists, Speedster is going to be losing crucial time to his early championship rivals in front of him. So it's going to be important for that Alfa Romeo to get that move done as soon as possible. You He's got company behind him as well, and that won't be an issue because they all have DRS as such, apart from Alfie, so they'll just slipstream each other. So see what happens as Scuba is, again, he's just in that range. It's about 6/10 or so, where even if you have DRS, you're fairly safe. As Glock is in decent range of Speedster, who's not. He's reeling him in now. Is that Alfa Romeo? But is he reeling him in time to make a move, a sensible move, into turn 14? Not quite. As just behind him is Glock, and then Mats just dropped out of that DRS range. He's got Zenki behind him, so he has to be careful not to fall too much further. Pick up the DRS then is Speedster, obviously reeling in. The racing point of Alfie as Alfie goes defensive, have to go around the outside. This can work though if you have the grip. And they try and hold this at a better view, much better view. Alfie will have the better line. See if Speedster can try and make some sort of switch back, but nothing of the sort. Alfie holds on, and if anything, Glock is a bit closer this time round to Speedster, but nothing doing, heading down towards turn 6. Very, very close. This bunch, if you look at the wrong one, 7 seconds separate the top 10, so it's so close. They just gained that little bit then over Corey in 11th on the hards. He's the highest of the hard runners. And you can see that gap is reflective then. That's a nice helicopter shot. 2.7 seconds. Corey's behind Praga then for the top 10. It's so tight out there. Although again, that gap is increasing though between Alfie and Scuba. And again, this is what Speedster has to be wary of, is that the longer this goes on, the more that gap is surely going to increase. Beautiful helicopter shot now. Is he close enough this time round? Glock has got a good run as well, and Matt's not too far behind him either, as they pick up the slipstream. Again, Alfie's just got enough of a gap, hasn't he, heading out of that snail section, that turn 13. And he's holding on to that position for the time being. But if it's like 5/10 or 4/10, I think he'll really struggle. As further down the field, that was Ollie getting past Nick with a DRS move. He looked like he got the move well done beforehand. Yellow flag sector 3. Oh, it's Corey. He's dropped it on his own, I think, out of turn 13 rather. As Speedster and Alfie side by side, and Corey's left the session, so he's given up at this stage. Speedster, can he squeeze his way through? Alfie on the outside, can he hold it? So Speedster moves into third place, and Alfie can try and have a look then, heading down towards turn 6. Speedster goes defensive. Alfie will try for the switch back. Can he do it? Decent run out of turn 6. It's going to be side by side heading towards turn 7 and 8. Alfie on the outside. Oh, he's doing well to hold this. He'll have the inside then for 8. Oh, contact between the two, and Alfie goes around. Can everyone avoid him? Just about. Oh, and Zenki then gets by Matt amidst that flurry of action. So, but they came very close to making contact. So it looked like a racing incident from where I was. I needed to look at it to be sure. But the one thing then that Speedster has to worry about, he has got that position for P3, but now Glock is right there and will have DRS now. As the back of that Alfa Romeo, look like it was sliding a little bit then, but he's nearly almost 3 seconds then behind Scuba. And DRS open then for Glock. I think he's going to be in a good position then to have a go. Will he go for it? Oh, he's thought about it. He's left his car there. And Speedster then holding on for the time being, as Scuba then still quite close to Calzo. Those two haven't really moved, have they? See what the run for Glock is like out of the last turn. It's not enough, I don't think, to make a move into turn 1. As Speedster was confident of that, he didn't cover the inside line. So yeah, flurry of action there. So Zenki got by Matt. I think Matt had to get over to avoid Alfie, but it just looked like side to side contact. Although I know Alfie did have the inside line for that turn 8, so it'll be interesting to see if there'll be an inquisition into that one after the race. But for the moment, Alfie is down to 10th place. He's kind of now in that gap between the medium and the hard runners. He's 3 seconds behind Praga and 3 seconds ahead of Ollie Flavel. Just going back to Corey, I believe he was on his own, and I think he's just dropped it out of the hairpin of turn 14. So all on his own, as CC Brain and Samster. This is a battle for 17th place. They've both made a stop. You see Corey's still a ghost. I don't want to spend too much time looking at battle for P17, especially when there's DRS to be had and Glock picking it up beautifully. Then he's going to have a great chance. Surely it's going to be an overtake, heading down towards the hairpin, opens the DRS. Speedster actually doesn't even fight it, he just lets it happen, and he probably knew himself what the story was. And then Glock moves into P3 then, as again Calzo and Scuba still slipstreaming each other. And that's the thing with these two, is they're just pulling each other away. This lead car here does not have DRS of Glock, and they're 3.5 seconds behind now, this group, this chasing pack. But because Scuba and Calzo basically they've been inseparable basically this entire race, they're just pulling each other along, and that's really helping them extend that gap out the front. But we are getting close to the pit stop territory, where, you know, if you're Scuba, you've got a nice little margin behind you in terms of you know, you can't be undercut. The problem is, if you make a stop, look at the leader, there's actually a little gap you can form into now. It's between Mikalitsu, I keep saying Mikalitsu, sorry, Mikalitsu and Super Guy. 17 to 26 seconds is that little range there. That's between that's the leader then, the gap between the leaders. So if there's a little gap, it might be there. The only problem is, where you're pitting, everyone else is going to be on hards, and they're going for at least what, lap 16 or so, 16, 17. So that's the thing you have to be wary of, and you will have to make some overtakes more than likely. So that's the risk, but obviously if you're Scuba, there's a higher reward to be had in terms of the race win. We'll see what happens on lap 9. Will Calzo decide to cover it off, maybe possibly afraid of an undercut attempt? See what happens then as they chase towards the pit lane. Gonna stay out for another lap at least as Scuba goes wide. Further down though, oh, Matt's in, so Matt's gonna be the first then of the leaders to instigate the undercut, and where he's at, you may as well, he's got third place in his sights. He's gonna take the plunge. So let's see then where he ends up. Hard tires, obviously he should end up between Super Guy and Mikalitsi, but we'll see then how far then he is. Now he's actually a little bit further back, so he is. So he actually might still end up behind the Haas, because he's 3.5 seconds behind that group, and he is behind. So he's going to have to make up a little bit of time then on his hards. Of course, Mikulitsi also on the hard, so he's going long into this race. Well, I say long, another 6 or so, 6, 7, 8 laps as things stand. So then that puts Glock, Zenki and Speedster in an interesting position then. What do they do then to respond for this lap alone? I mean, Matt is in traffic, it's not great, as CC Brain is out of the race. You know, he was fighting with Samster, but I'm not sure if he's dropped it on his own or if those two came together. Samster looks like he doesn't look like he's got damage though, as Foxy Dude's adding off somewhere and he's losing places, and out through go Alfie, Ollie and Archie as well, as you go back towards the front. Then any sign movement at the front end in terms of pit stops. Surely it's going to be the lap we're going to see some action. Brain goes on, or sorry, Calzo goes on, but Scuba dived into the pit, so Scuba then going to be instigating the undercut. Glock is in, Speedster carries on, and I think Zenki carries on as well, but Wuma pits. So flurry of action then, Scuba, Glock, Wuma all in as Calzo, Speedster, Zenki carry on then. So I don't know if Scuba got held there by the incoming Haas. We shall see then where he ends up as they feed in into turn 1. That's out there beautifully for Scuba. He's an absolute clean air. How about Matt and Glock? There goes Matt, he rolls around the outside, and Matt's made that undercut work on Glock, and now he's past Mikalitsi as well, so he's got that clean air. Although the Haas of Glock hanging about though, he's right there, so Matt's made that work very well. If he can hold on though, he's in a dangerous spot at the moment, because he's obviously well within DRS of you know, the Haas got DRS on Matt, so heading down that back straight could be difficult. So this section is key there to try and create some sort of separation, 5-6 tenths if possible. Otherwise he could be losing that place. He undercut to gain, but for Scuba he's an absolute dreamland, because this is exactly what he needed. Nice clean air in front of him, And now a tough decision then for these guys to make. See what they do as Calzo then rounds the hairpin. And this is a lap he dives in, then he has to respond surely, and he is in. Is Calzo, the race leader for 10 laps here into the pits. Speedster, Zenki both in as well. So they made the choice to stay an extra lap. Calzo didn't really make the choice. Scuba made the undercut on him. And then there goes Glock, there he is on Matt. And he gets that move done. Can Matt execute a switch back? It doesn't look like it. We love DRS though, but we have to go on board with Scuba because he is coming up to Calzo. Where is that Toro Rosso? There he is. The Scuba rounds the outside of that Toro Rosso. Calzo the inside for turn 1. Oh, he slid a bit as Sam's down. The VSC is out, and just when Scuba was trying to make a reply to Calzo, who came in a slip and slide out of the pit lane, the VSC has been deployed for that Ferrari, and that doesn't do. That's a shame, because that doesn't do anything for anyone, because everyone's too far in front of, everyone's too far back from the pits really. Yeah, everyone's past the pit lane, so that's going to do nothing for anyone. But it has really screwed over Scuba. I think he was about to try and make a reply at Calzo, so Calzo just about surviving. It wasn't pretty because he had that little slip out of the pit lane and did make contact with that Mercedes, but saved by the bacon, saved by the VSC. As longer this goes on, this will be interesting. Though to be fair, the gaps, everyone else that hasn't pitched yet. I mean, Foxy did stay there on this medium, which is interesting, but everyone else is on hards pretty much, and they're not that far in front. And here you go, the DRS then. Sorry, we're back to racing again. DRS is enabled, and Paco then getting by Foxy, then Scuba then right behind Calzo. Let's go defensive. Calzo trying to come across, and there's nothing he can do heading into this hairpin, and there's a flurry of action going on in front. There's Paco, Archie, and Matt and Glock side by side as well. Glock will have the inside for the hairpin, becomes the outside. Matt just gets a much better run though. Matt then takes back that that's effective P3 from Glock, and Calzo with DRS can't reply to Scuba then. So this is a big part of the race then. This is a big lap for Scuba. If he can get, he should be able to get within the DRS then of this group in front. These guys are yet to pit. Super Guy, Nick, Archie, Paco, Ollie Flabel, they've yet to pit. So Scuba, if he can get within DRS, he should be able to protect himself from the DRS, of course. That as a move here, Nick and Super Guy should be able to protect himself from the DRS that Calzo will have heading down that straight. Then side by side still the Williams and the Red Bull, of course, occupying second, third, fourth and fifth. Then a Super Guy then I think has made that move stick, and now he's into P4, but of course yet to make a stop in this race. Scuba then has caught up to the back of this group, and he's 7/10 to have Calzo, but that gap will decrease a bit as he has to be careful and navigate in this traffic. Of course, Nick will have DRS as well. This is the important part of the race, but the tyre advantage should be with Scuba, and even with this, he's before DRS is open, he's going to be making that move. Opens it up. Let's see if Calzo can follow him through. This could be an important part of the race if Calzo can't follow him through, as Paco. Oh, very late on the brakes was Calzo, and Paco then looks like he's lost out somewhere, has he? So they soldier on, but that looked incredibly tight as Nick goes very, very wide. That should allow Calzo an easy move through, but Calzo almost hit his wing off the back of that battle as Matt sets a faster lap of the race. So all this traffic is allowing these guys behind just to catch up that little bit, as Glock is behind Speedster now. So in all that flurry of activity, Speedster is now ahead of Glock, and now Matt has a little bit more breathing room. He's 1.9 then ahead of that Alfa Romeo, as meanwhile at the front here. Interesting. This is such a dangerous time of the race though for Calzo, for Scuba, because they're, these guys are, it's for legitimate track position. They are sticking to their race, but they have, Calzo and Scuba have to make these moves. These have to get done. They can't be hanging around behind these guys, and these guys aren't pitting for another 3-4 laps even. So it's a dangerous part of the race. And should Calzo fancy an opportunity, you know, it could come in the midst of this activity. As Super Guy gets a good run on Paco. As we're going to be very close then to the back of that Red Bull. See if you can make the move stick. Zenki and Glock then switching places, so Glock following further back in this race. Super Guy goes down the inside of Paco. And Scuba right there as well. Cal's right behind that. And something's gone wrong here for Glock because his teammate's now ahead as well. So I'm not sure if he's damaged the wing somewhere, but he's now falling further and further behind in this battle. And he could probably imagine his podium is gone out the window then. He's losing further places. Surely he's got wing damage. He's into the pits then. So we'll just go back forward here a bit and then we'll have a little check to see if he's got to change a wing. See what's happening because it's all so tight up here. The top six. Oops, wrong one. Top six separated by 2.5. Top seven even separated by 2.5 seconds. Calzo very close to Scuba then. As they try and make this, try and make the best of it through the traffic. Super Guy obviously now ahead of Paco, but now again leaders have to try and make their way through. So tight. And look at Matt then. Matt is gaining all on while this is going on, and he's now only 2.1 behind then as Paco then pulls up to the left hand side and lets Scuba go. So that's an interesting one there from Paco. We don't see that too often in a battle for a legitimate position. I know they're on different strategies, so you don't see that too often, as Calzo gets a much better run then through the snail section. Although Paco then, his exit wasn't too bad to be fair, but even still Calzo should get this move done. Although you can see the straight line speed from Paco, not bad, but a bit later on the brakes was Calzo. And he moves down the inside to make that move and follows Scuba then. And that's the interesting one for Scuba to navigate, as he's helped somewhat by Archie diving into the pits then. So that releases that car at least. But it's this Williams of Super Guy that Scuba has to try and negotiate. And these two do have history. They do have history, these two. So it's going to be anything but easy for Scuba to try and get through that Williams. It's not going to make it easy, as Alfie into the pits as well on his hards. Sorry, Paco rather. Paco is into the pits. Alfie then moves ahead of them. And they emerge then deep into the midfield. P15 then for Paco. And, still a long way off of a point, but we'll see what happens because the field is quite close. So you just never know what could be in the offing if you just keep pounding round. Lap 16 of 28, over half distance now. Still got these guys on hards to dive into the pits and still to negotiate for the race leaders, the effective race leaders of Scuba and Calzo, and Matt then getting closer and closer as well. Although Speedset is actually closing that gap to him. It's now 8/10. It was almost 2.1 seconds not that long ago, but it's just going a little bit closer then in these last few laps. And are any of these guys any closer to make any overtakes? Again, not quite. Again, it's the DRS of Ollie that is keeping Super Guy in it. It was going for the dive, and that's a reckless dive. That's going to allow Scuba the chance surely to make this move then on Super Guy. He's actually given to him on a platter. I don't know if he's just cooked the braking or he's gone for the move, but that was a reckless one for Super Guy. Lucky that there wasn't a bigger accident caused, and him and Ollie then pulling into the pits. And now as Speed sets the fastest lap of the race, he's now within DRS of Matt, but now that releases the leaders, and now there's no longer DRS to protect Scuba from Calzo. So a critical lap then for Scuba to try and eke out a 6/7/10 gap on this Toro Rosso. If he cannot, then he's going to be vulnerable heading down that back straight. Now we'll kind of see how the rest of the grid kind of settles then after Michalizzi makes his pit stop. I believe he's the last of them not to make a pit stop, and after that then we'll have a bit of a clear idea of our kind of top 10. But I'm sure there's a lot to be said and done before the end of this one, because you can look at the gap between, there's Archie, Foxy, Paco, Super Guy, Ollie. They're very close with each other, And that's for the latter end of the top 10. 5/10 then, is that going to be enough for Scuba to hold on? And similarly, his teammate Mash to hold on. As Speedster then comes charging, Calzo comes charging. Scuba's not gone defensive. Confident then that Calzo wouldn't go for the move. Speedster though does go for the move, and he makes that one on Mash. Matt's going to have a bare exit, but Speedster will have the inside line. Can Matt respond with DRS of his own? Opens the rear wing. He's not got a lot of ERS, to be fair, has Matt, so might not be able to fight this one too much as he sticks it into 0 on his ERS deployment. He has to try and save some, but speaking of ERS, you can see that the ERS situation between Scuba and Calzo, a much healthier situation for Calzo. Scuba, not that Scuba's in dire straits, but Calzo certainly got a lot more to burn should he need to. Matt would do well to try and save a little bit of ERS himself this lap, see what he can do by the time this DRS comes around. It's just clouded over just a little bit here at China, not too bad, but sun's definitely gone hiding this part of the race as Paco then side by side with Foxy out of turn 6 is the battle for effective P9 as Micheluzzi is yet to pit, and that's Foxy then on the hards holding on to that position for the time being, but might find that difficult with a pursuing pack of medium runners. Paco, Super Guy, Ollie, all on mediums, of course just freshly pitted, and we'll see how they get on. Meanwhile, Calzo again not quite close enough to Scuba, so in many ways this race looks like it's kind of flipped in the sense that in the reverse, that it was Calzo that out front and Scuba with DRS that he couldn't do anything about. At least how it looks like so far. Although, decent run here for Calzo on Scuba. Again, we have a look into turn 1. Again, it's a corner where you need to be right alongside as Alfie and as Micheluzzi then pulls into the pits. It's a corner you need to be right down their inside basically and just late brake it, because it's if you dive into that corner, you know, the nature of it, the car defending is going to be sweeping into that corner, and either an accident, like either the both cars is going to go off or the car behind is just going to get swiped, given the nature of that corner. As Paco then again trying to have a go at Foxy at the inside this time for turn 2, and he does make that move stick, and he's got company behind him. Has Foxy in the form of Super Guy, and now this is for a points paying position, the final points paying position. You see the grip then that Super Guy has, but can't quite get the run he wants out of turn 6 to try and make a move through turn 7 and 8, but I have a feeling his chance will come very soon then. How's the run then for Scuba this time? Ooh, 4/10, and I think he knows he has to defend this one, because then Calzo is coming open to DRS then. He's going to have a good chance to overtake this time around, does Calzo. Scuba just about forcing Calzo then. He's going to go down the inside, side by side, a little bit of contact, and Calzo looks like he's through. And Scuba then try and launch it out of this last turn. Good run for Scuba. He's going to try and have another go as Alfie gets by one more for P6. It's a battle for the lead though. We're sticking with this one. Calzo ducks to the right hand side. Scuba's going to go around the outside if he can. Tough to make this one stick. Surely more ground to cover. And he just, yeah, Calzo placing his car very nicely indeed, and read that one very well. The Calzo, he's going to hold on to the lead. I think Scuba might have played that one a little bit better heading down that back straight. I know he's trying to cover off the inside by kind of forcing Calzo to the outside, but there was enough room for Calzo to switch back then late to go down the inside into that hairpin, and I think Scuba would like a do-over, I'm sure, of that corner. For the moment anyways, Calzo is ahead of Scuba, and this isn't really a track where you see a ton of penalties. We just saw one for Super Guy just there now, who's actually trying to have another go on the outside of Foxy then, and through turn 6. You don't see a ton of penalties here, so I doubt that's going to be the deciding factor as Super Guy sweeps through the inside then. Foxy then to the inside then for turn 8. If Super Guy can hold it here, the inside for 9, and he does. It's Alfie looking at this one then with interest, but actually speaking of interest, Speedster under pressure from Matt. And Matt dips to the right hand side to try and take back that P3, and does so very easily in the end. He moves into third place then. Not the best hairpin though, but nothing that Speedster can do to reply, at least immediately. And Matt takes back that podium position that Speedster took from him a few laps ago. As we begin lap 21 of 28. Still plenty of racing to be had here. For first place and for third, as well as Ollie. Oh, look at this 3-car scrap. Super Guy, Ollie, Foxy, all for P10. As their squabbling's allowed Paco to absolutely just drive away, hasn't it? 3.8 seconds up the road, but we're going to have 3 wide, surely, are we? We are going to have 3 wide heading down towards turn 1. Foxy down the inside of them all. Can he make it stick? Ollie on the outside, and the Racing Point, he's managed to keep it as they file through turn 2. Oh, Super Guy's going to try and go for the dive. Didn't make it work this time round. As Ollie then holding on to that P10. Super Guy have another dive then into turn 6. He's too far back, surely this time round he is. And so they'll settle then, at least for the moment. That's the battle for the final points pay position in P10. I think Scuba then just wisely using this part of the race. There's a save bit of ERS. He's got a good gap between himself and his teammate. He won't be under any pressure from that point of view. And as long as he can stick within DRS, he'll be in good shape to have a go at some point late on in this race. As Matt then holding on to that P3 for now, but again with Matt a little bit more worrisome because his ERS isn't as good looking as say Speedster behind him, and Zengi's not too far behind this either. As they chase down to start lap 22. Scuba keeping it nice and close as Super Guy again going for the move on Foxy. He has made a stick. He cuts over to the right hand side to cut off that Alfa Romeo, but he will have DRS then. They will both have DRS as Super Guy just keeping within DRS of the Racing Point in front of him. Will Foxy go for a late move? Thought about it, but wasn't far enough to do so. And Super Guy cuts him off as Glock is into the pits again, and we've got Nick and Michalizzi fighting away as Praga then retires from this race. It's for P13, so this is outside the points, and then no real chance of points really at this stage of the race for these guys. Are a bit too far behind Foxy in P12 having to be looking at having a run at some points, but they soldier on. As again, it's a half second or so. I think Scuba is in overtake mode this time. I think more so to keep it close, but he is gaining, and the VSC has been deployed for the second time today. Now then, I don't think that will do anything. If you're Zenki though, you got 9 seconds to Alfie behind. If this VSC sticks, is it worth putting on a set of softs? Because you got a good margin behind, you can overtake around this track. You got nothing to lose. I would have done it personally. I would have done it. You got a good margin of the car behind. You're kind of stuck, basically. You're not going to get a podium, really, between Speedster and Matt. I think it's a missed opportunity. We'll see how long this... Alfie is going to take the plunge, though, so someone is going to come into the pits. We'll see how long this VSC lasts, though, but I think that's definitely a missed opportunity for Zenki, especially now having seen Wuma and Alfie pitch then as well. Archie's going to carry on. So, that's a tough one. I think a definitely missed opportunity as DRS is now enabled. We are racing again. Soft tyres then for Wuma and Alfie. And I think with 10 seconds, I think definitely Zenki would have got out by the time that VSC ended. So I think it's a definitely missed opportunity, but he can still soldier on. And obviously, you know, any incident between Matt and Speedster will definitely, you know, give him a chance at the podium. Speaking of, I'm not sure how this has come to be, but in that VSC, that advantage Scuba had over his teammate is now gone. They are all within DRS of each other now. So, in many ways, the battle for the win has just opened up that little bit more. But obviously, with Speedster and Matt, they'll have to overtake 2 cars to get up to that position. We'll see what happens in the closing stages of this Chinese Grand Prix. And what happens if Matt ends up cruising behind his teammate and looks to go for an overtake? Be an interesting one to how they communicate that one down at Mercedes. But again, they are all within DRS range. I just think that's such a missed opportunity for Zenki. I think it would have been perfect. Speaking of, the Wuma is down in 15th place and Alfie in 11th. As Paco and Archie side by side. Archie pulling ahead still, trying to keep that position. They're on similar lap old tyres, so this is for a legit position. As Archie pulls over to the right hand side, he's not got DRS though to defend this one, and Paco can sweep around the outside and lay claim to that P6. Then of course that P6 vacated by Wuma and Alfie pitching. I just wonder if Wuma has made a wing change or something, because he's a long way behind now. Alfie, I'm not sure, I can't remember what the gap was before they pitted, but between each other before they pitted, but Wuma was a long way back now. I think Wuma may have thrown away a good points paying position. Alfie can get back up in there, you know, he's not that far, but you've got the two Hasses going at it as well. I just wanted to cut too far ahead in case something pops off up top. But Glock and Michalizzi, it's not really gone according to Glock's plan. He's been in, I think, twice. So it just hasn't really worked out for him. He was in the battle for a podium, but disappeared fairly quickly as gaining is Speedster on Matt, and he's just dropped out of DRS range. Has Matt on his teammate, and that could prove quite costly indeed. He needs to get back within that DRS range. How much can his teammate help him though to get back within that range without dropping out of DRS of Calzo himself? You know, that's going to be a tough one for Scuba to judge, but he'll want to help his teammate in any way, shape or form to try and secure a double podium for Mercedes here in China. But it's going to be difficult. 4 laps to go, including the one they've just started, lap 25 of 28. The battle for the win is still definitely on, as Ollie picks up a 3-second penalty. He's in 8th place, and that is going to cost him. That could be the difference between him scoring a point and not scoring a point, as Alfie then, his teammate, nips through on Foxy and takes P10 then, and Paco will be next for him on mediums then. Whether he can get to his teammate on track, we'll see, but see what Alfie can do then on the softs. I wouldn't have risked it if I was Alfie pit on the softs, because just a bit too far behind and a bit too much to lose, because he was running what, P6, P7. You know, it's going to be tough for him to get back up to that place in these remaining laps, where I think Zenki had the gap. I think it would have been a nice little gamble to try and see if you could pull off without losing too much in the pit stops with the VSC. Obviously with the you know, the guys pitching as well, but Speed's is getting close then to Matt. There's action going on throughout the field, but going to stick with this one. This battle for the podium, as Speed's not quite getting in that range, as Michalizzi, Glock and Nick then in between, and that is for P12. Again, no points on show for that, as Alfie then reeling in. Super Guy, this is for P, asked for a position. Oh, I thought I was going to see a move for the lead. Had to jump to that to see what the story was, but Alfie then down the inside. Not really a difficult overtake in the end on Super Guy, given the tyre difference, but I'm just reluctant to go further down the field unless I have to, because again, there's battles to be had for 3rd place. There's battles to be had for the win in the closing stages of this race. It's going to be a lot of to and fro and down the field, I'm sure, but we're just going to try and stick with this as best as we can. As Calzo still got a lot of ERS to boot, but Scuba, I think, just choosing now to just turn up the intensity just a little bit now. We'll see how much he's been hanging back. See what run he gets out of the snail section. He's dropped his teammate 1.7, then the gap between himself and Matt, but what is his run heading out of this snail section? 5/10 is the gap. Is that going to be enough to reel in that Toro Rosso? 6/10 even now. He's just dropped back a bit and spending his ERS quickly, and decides mid straight to drop it back down then towards none to try and save as much as he can. As Speedster then got close as well, not close enough. So again, just with these Mercedes cars, they don't have DRS or ERS on their side. their respective battles with Speedster and Calzo. In both instances, they have the better ERS situation, and Matt going to be under pressure. And Speedster goes down the inside into turn 1. Matt then trying to force a way back through. Can he cut off the inside of turn 2? Speedster's going to be there, but Matt's going to have the outside line and the better exit, surely, as they chase out of turns 3 and 4 and down towards turn 5 and 6. Speedster still on the outside, later braking than Matt. A little contact was there. He's got the outside line. Is Speedster. It comes the inside for turn 7. She's going to try and stick his car up through the inside. Matt with the inside for turn 8. Great racing here to end the Chinese Grand Prix. Matt still holding it. Becomes the inside then for turn 9 for Speedster. Can he keep this position? I wonder if Matt might be better off to actually just let him go, and then with DRS then take that position back down that main straight. So that's going to work out nicely for Matt, I think, because he'll be close enough to be able to make this move then again without losing distance too much of that Alfa Romeo, and even out of the snail section still right there. And with DRS now, we'll surely be able to make this one stick. He did a good job saving ERS in that lap, then has enough to pull over to the right hand side and easily take back that P3 and tucks back into the racing line before the corner. Oh, Speed's going to go for it. Going to reply right away. A big lock up on the brakes. Oh, and Matt runs to the back of him. I didn't see a piece of wing flying, but Matt may have moved over to the racing line too soon, and Speedster then kindly walked down. Well, maybe not kindly, because he didn't make contact afterwards, down that inside line and so defend it once again as we begin the final lap of this race. Matt then trying to hold it down the inside, the gap at the front, 8/10 between Scuba and Calzo. I'm not sure things are going to change there, but third place still well up for grabs, and the more these two squabble, Zenki is getting closer to this action as well. There's Archie close to Paco as well, so plenty of action then to be had. One last charge for Scuba then on this lap, but I'm not sure he'll get close enough. Needs to be within 4/10 or so heading out of that snail section. Got a yellow flag on the track. Can't imagine this will change too much though. It's in sector 3. One more chance then. Scuba, I think he's too far back then. It's been a great race. These two have been inseparable pretty much this entire race, but it looks like it's going to be Calzo then. How about this battle for the final podium spot? It might be advantage Speedster. Can Matt get a good run out of this last time on the snail section? He's going to have DRS, and I think he may be too far back. Actually, Zenki looking to have a little look then as well, try and keep within the toe. Down to the hairpin for the last time, as Woman then gets a penalty. Here he is on the outside. So be careful not to get in the way of the leaders. No luck then from Mash. Out of the last corner, Calzo has taken this one. He wins the Chinese Grand Prix ahead of Scuba in second just by 4/10. Speedster then is going to hold off Mash for third place, and Zenki then crossing the line just behind Matt then for 5th place. Matt then couldn't hold on to that podium. He'd be disappointed, I'm sure. Paco, meanwhile, it's been a great drive from him from last place on the grid. Paco has sized his way through the field to take 6th place. A good drive from Archie as well for 7th. Alfie then will cross the line in 8th. His teammate just behind him in 9th. Super Guy in 10th. But Foxy Dude will nip into the final points paying position by virtue of penalties. Michalizzi will finish 13th. Oh, and Glock then taking the wheel off then in the Haas to end this one. What a race. What a great race indeed. Whew. That was a tough one in the end, but in the end it is Calzo who wins this one. Nothing to separate them honestly between himself and Scuba, but I believe that Calzo will take the lead of the championship with that win. I think he'll move 5 points ahead, I believe, of 4 or 5 points ahead of I think our Scuba or Speedster. I think it's 4 points ahead of Scuba, to be fair. No, sorry, 5 points, because I don't know. I don't know. Forget it. The tables will come out in due course, I'm sure. I don't have them in front of me. So Calzo wins ahead of Scuba then in second. Speedster then did manage to take that final podium spot off of Matt in the end. who finishes 4th, Zenki in 5th, Paco is 6th, Archie 7th, Alfie in 8th, Ollie in 9th, Foxy in 10th, getting the final point then. Super Guy in 11th, Michalizzi in 12th, Lachlan, a disastrous one for him in 13th, Nick 14th, Wumma then in 15th. I'm not sure what happened to him after the pit stop to go on sauce, but something definitely went wrong for sure. We lost from this race Corey, Praga, Samser, CC Brain and Jeff. Mostly out of rage quits, I believe, because I think Jeff's car was technically intact. Well, sorry, I say intact. He definitely had 4 wheels on his car, I'm pretty sure, when he had his accident, but just chose to quit. CCC Brain retired in the pit lane, I believe, as did Praga. Corey then, I believe, quit after he lost the back end. I think there was, again, I wouldn't be sure, but I'm pretty sure there was no one near him when he lost the back end out of the hairpin and just collided with the barrier on the right hand side heading out of the hairpin, out of turn 14. So I believe that is the case. Let me just pull up the tables quickly and we can just do a quick calc on the standings before we finish here. It would be a good day for Mercedes though in the constructors for sure. Another handy double points finish in 2nd and 4th, definitely boosting their strong title aspirations. So Speedson was 2 points ahead and finished in 3rd, which would give him 50 points. Scuba would be on 51 and 58 points then for Calzo would be your standings. So that is 6 points ahead of Scuba then, I believe. I couldn't even see the look who set the fastest lap, but I'm rambling and I'm terrible at maths, so I'm sorry. It'd be 7 points ahead of Scuba though, to be fair, actually, because yeah. Alright, Mystery Sword. I'm bad at maths, I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I've been in school. That's going to do it for round number 3 of ILR2. Great race in the end, taken by Calzo. The top 3 in the standings finish in the top 3 spots then in the end. So that's going to do it. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time.